Oh my gosh, we're here. It's the Thomas Massie primary. Will Thomas Massie keep his seat, or will he be primaried by the Trump-endorsed Ed Gallrein? President Trump is not a fan of Thomas Massie. He has been very publicly critical of Thomas Massie, telling people not to vote for Thomas Massie, posted multiple times about it today on Truth Social, and he posted on X about it. He is not a fan of Thomas Massie. So we want to get you the latest updates on this. Some of the polls are closed in Kentucky because they close at 6 p.m. But the thing is, Kentucky has 2 time zones. So the rest of the polls in Kentucky, the remaining polls close at 7 Eastern, which is 57 minutes and 26 seconds from now. So I want to get you guys some updates here. We're going to be taking your comments on the air. A moment. Give me 1 moment here. And I'll check out one other thing here. Thanks for your patience. And there's this whole, I don't even know what this is about, this whole hullabaloo over President Trump and Ed Gallrein claim that Thomas Massie claimed that he was endorsed by President Trump. I'm not even sure what this is all about. I have to look it up. It's also thundering outside. You can hear the thunder. So, anyways, President Trump, if you were with us last week, President Trump came out against Senator Bill Cassidy, Republican senator in Louisiana, who lost in his primary. So Bill Cassidy is out. President Trump also came out against a bunch of Indiana. I think he came out against, I think it was 7 Indiana Republican state senators who had not gone along with his redistricting plan, and 5 of them got primaried. So we're going to keep an eye on things here. Yeah, the polls, there's some other races going on. We're going to focus on this, but we'll talk about some other races too. We're going to take your comments on the air. And I'm going to give you some background about this race as well. Let's do that. Let's talk about some background. Hey, thanks to no, I thought now one of the viewers claims that all of the Massey district is in the time zone in Eastern. I might be wrong about that. Hold on a second. Let me see here. I have 2 things here. Okay, hold on a second here. Yeah, what counts as the western half of the state? Western half of the state, I have to look it up. You know what? I think you're right. I think these are all in the Eastern time zone. I think you might be right. So maybe the polls are closed. Hang on, I gotta double check this. Kentucky. This is the 4th district. Oh, all right. You are right. I was wrong about that. Yes, the Kentucky polls close at some Kentucky polls are still open because that's the western part of the state. But everything in the 4th district should be closed. Everything in the 4th district should be closed by now. Yes. So hang on a second here. Hang on. I got to do something real quick. Oh my gosh. I got to do something real quick. Hold on. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. That's my fault. I didn't even check. But anyways, we got back on the air. Now, what I have to do is this. Okay. No results in at this point. Yes. So let's talk about this. Thanks for the correction on the timing there. Hey, thanks by the way to our moderators. We have Ruth is moderating, Haley Go, Roberts May Queen, Ruth, all on YouTube moderating right now. We also have, you know what? I need a second here. Give me a moment. Let me just rearrange a couple things on my desktop here. Give me a moment. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Give me one moment. There we go. Thanks to our Twitch moderators. Matthew Kohai 3 is moderating right now. Thank you, Matthew. Also on Twitch, thanks to Java Jenkins for subscribing. Linda Bell, Larry, and Misha moderate for us on X. Thanks so much. Thanks to our Facebook mods, too. Oops. Ruth, oops, I'm seeing two. All on YouTube. And thanks to Kay Lowry Body, who's moderating on Facebook right now. Michelle Baden, I don't know how long it'll take for the results to come in. I do not know. Thanks, Joselito Lopez, for watching. Thanks also, Carrie Poteet, who says, I am a Kentucky resident, big doings. Thanks for your support, Carrie. Also, Baby Blue Sky and Evan Evans are members on YouTube. Now, the polling in this race, let me show you the polling. This is from, we're looking at DDHQ Votes. Decision Desk HQ Votes Platform Beta, which you can see at votes.decisiondeskhq.com. So on May 16th, there was a poll. May 16th to 18th, there was a poll where Gallrein was up by 0.8%. On May 16th, 17th, there was a poll where Gallrein was up by 7%. On May 15th to 16th, there was a poll where Gallrein was up by 7%. May 12th to 15th, there was one where they were even. May 12th to 14th, there was one where Massie was up by 0.6%. May 11th, 12th, there was one Gallrein up by 5%. Then you go back to April. I want to show you some of what President Trump has been saying about this. But let's talk about the race for a second. Hang on. I am going to tell you about this race. So DDHQ, Decision Desk HQ, says President Trump's May Revenge Tour continues apace. This week, President Trump's target is Republican Representative from Kentucky, Thomas Massie. A libertarian-minded conservative, Massie has crossed Trump a number of times over the past year. Massie opposed Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill in 2025. Massie led a discharge petition campaign to force the release of the Epstein files. Massie has also criticized U.S. military action against Iran. In October, oh, we have the first 18 votes. The first 18 votes are in. I would not judge based on 18 votes at this point. We have 18 votes in. In October, Trump endorsed a primary challenger, retired Navy SEAL Ed Gallrein. Ed Gallrein. Hang on a second here. Give me one sec. I'm just trying to get for you guys. We're supposed to have, oh, that's really stupid. Give me 1 second here. We have 18 votes in. So I'm planning on having, I am planning on having a camera from the Massey, watch event, watch party, where Massey's going to be speaking. Some more votes are coming in here. Very early votes. We'll see how votes come in. Let me continue a little summary here. In October, Trump endorsed a primary challenger to Massie. Trump really does not like Massie. Retired Navy SEAL Ed Gallrein. With $32.6 million in ad spending, the Massie-Gallrein contest has turned into the most expensive U.S. House primary on record, ever. Of that, the anti-Massie forces enjoyed an edge. Groups have spent $18.8 million supporting Gallrein or attacking Massie, compared with $13.8 million supporting Massie or attacking Gallrein, says Decision Desk HQ. Massie could lose based on what the polls suggest. The last polls conducted ahead of the primary either found Gallrein leading by single digits or the two candidates running about even. Massie may still win, but between this trend, Trump's endorsement, and the ad spending disparity, you might rather be Gallrein. Hang on a moment here. All right, so we have some votes coming in, very few. Maybe we should do a poll. Let's do a poll about who you think, if Massie or Gallrein will win. Thank you, Lidwine Elizabeth. Do all states vote these days? So right now we're in the primary stage. So The primaries are spread out over various dates over several months. But in this district, it's a Republican district. So whoever wins the Republican primary is going to end up winning the general election. But the general election is until November. But whoever the Republican candidate is going to end up winning the election, unless something insane happens. Back in the 76% voted for Massie. Oh, no, that was sorry. I'm looking for the general election. In the general election, it was 65% Massie in 2020. What happened in 2024? Hold on. Now I can't find it in 2024. I was looking up the general election in 2024 was, there wasn't even a Democrat. There was a Massie and an independent. Massie got 99.6% of the general election vote in 2024. Do I have that right? I believe I do. I just looked it up. Let's look it up. Massie. Yes, there was not even a Democrat in the race in the general election in 2024. It was Massie with 99.6% of the vote. It was Massie and an independent, I believe. In 2022, I think he got 65%. Anyways, long story short, this is a red district. So it's almost certain that whoever wins this will win the election in November. But tonight. There's several states having primaries with different races, so we can talk about some of the different ones as we move forward. Sorry, thundering out a bit. Okay, we have a few votes in. Let's do yes, there's big thunderstorm going on outside. Hey, let's go. I want to do a poll here. Hey, thank you to Crypto King. Hang on. Hang on. Hey, I have the live from the Massey. We have some video which I'm going to put up from the Massey event. Fantastic. All right, hold on. I don't want to play music, but I'm going to put on for you guys the Massey the Massey watch party. Oh my gosh. Now what I need to do is boop, 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 boop. What's that? Hold on. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Here. All right, so we're going to get this in the corner here. There is the Massey event. Where should we put this? Maybe up here? That is live. No, I haven't done the poll yet. That is live in Hebron, Kentucky. I got to get that on the screen. Live Massie watch party. Okay, now we're going to do a poll. And we got some votes coming in. We have some early votes coming in. Early. And I'm going to also look and see what some elections analysts are saying about this. We'll see. Zachary Danini with VoteHub says some votes that came in from Lewis County point to a close race. They say that Zachary Danini says Lewis is Massie's home county and thinks that this points to a close race. Again, President Trump is not a fan of Massie. He has loudly endorsed Ed Gallrein. He has posted a number of times today against Massie and for Gallrein, telling people they should vote for Gallrein. Let's do a poll quickly. Who will win Massie Gallrein? I got to do this quickly. Okay, I have the poll posted on YouTube and I have it posted on Facebook, on Twitch. I just need to post it on Facebook. Where's Facebook? Where did Facebook go? There it is. Uh-oh. Now what happened? Now what happened? Okay, the poll is active. So let me see. By the way, thanks, Films of Greatness. Hang on a second here. If you're wondering, on the betting sites, what is this? On the betting sites, Polymarket right now has Gallrein at 82% favorite, I think 82.5, and then Kalshi has Gallrein at 85% for whatever it's worth. Okay, I asked you guys who's going to win. On Facebook, 79% on Facebook said Massie. On Facebook, 79% say Massie. On YouTube, let's see what the vote is on YouTube. It is 60% say Massie on YouTube. Interesting. And on Twitch, it is, wow, 70% on Twitch say Massie. 71% on Twitch say Massie. 61% on YouTube say Massie. And I have to check Facebook again. All right. So our viewers have spoken on who they think is going to win. That would be an upset. Well, an upset in the sense of the polls have been close. Massie Gallrein, a little bit of an edge recently in polls. And also, of course, President Trump is endorsing Gallrein. But it's not news that President Trump is endorsing Gallrein. That's been known for months. Thanks for voting in the poll. On Facebook, it ended up being 58% Massie on Facebook. And let me mention also something else about this race. Decision desk. Oh, who's somebody speaking? Who's speaking? Who's speaking? What's happening here? I'm hearing somebody. There's no sound. Oh, I know. There is sound.
Please bow your heads with me. Lord, thank you so much for everyone in this room, for everyone who's been supporting Thomas, and for the people and groups that have worked tirelessly on this campaign to make this event happen tonight. Thank you for giving us this country. Thank you for giving us Kentucky. And thank you for the freedom that we all have and the ways that we all continue to express it every day. Lord, I want to say a special thank you for Thomas Massie for his incredible leadership and his commitment to standing up for what he believes in and for Kentuckians. And Lord, as Kentucky, the nation, and the whole world watch the results of this election, please help Thomas and all of his supporters to use this time to be a light in the world that reflects you. In the next hours, days, and weeks, please protect us, watch over us, and guide us. And Lord, win or lose this election, please help all of us to continue to run the race of life in a way that honors you and blesses this country. Lord, thank you again for this country, for Kentucky, and for Thomas Massie. We love you. Let all glory be to you. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Hey, Taylor. Okay, now we have Mayor Penque. Now, he is mayor of a city that might be called a little Cold Springs, but he is
the Massie
one
Watch
hot
Party.
Mayor. So he's going to lead us in the pledge.
I figured I'd put on this from the Massie Watch Party.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Born and unborn.
Born and unborn.
Amen. Thank you, Mayor. Okay. Well, you're not here to listen to me. I think everybody's here to enjoy the company you came with, to enjoy the results coming in. I think there's a few starting to trickle in, but it will take a little time. So enjoy the food, enjoy the fellowship, and thank you again for all of your support for Thomas and for his support for this country. We're looking forward to having one great evening.
All right. All right, then. I bet they're going to play. Oh, I can't play the music. We'll keep an eye on the Massie Watch Party. We'll keep an eye on the Massie Watch Party. Hang on a moment here. Hey, just a little background here from Decision Desk HQ. U.S. Representative Thomas Massie, who has frequently clashed with President Trump on fiscal and international policy, finds himself in a difficult renomination campaign as Trump helped veteran Ed Gallrein clear the challenger field with Trump's endorsement. While most Republican incumbents would be underdogs against a Trump endorsement, Massie has strong personal brand that has helped him withstand Trump's negative comments in past primaries, leaving him with a fighting chance. The Verity Limited polling in this race has largely shown, well, it was showing Massie leading earlier, but some recent polls have had Gallrein leading. As we talked about. There's polling here. Hold on a second. We got to go back here. There's this. Polling here. So as we discussed, recent poll, Gallrein plus 0.8, recent poll, Gallrein plus 7, recent poll, Gallrein plus 7, recent poll tied, recent poll, Massie plus 0.6. So it seems like a bit better polling for Gallrein recently than Massie. I don't know about the individual polling outlets, though. Decision Desk HQ said, based on the polling data, as I said, Decision Desk HQ said, based on the polling data and Trump's endorsement and the higher ad spending on the Gallrein side, they say you might rather be Gallrein. Massie is endorsed by U.S. Senator Rand Paul, while Gallrein is endorsed by U.S. Senate nomination frontrunner Andy Barr. That's for the other Kentucky seat. Am I right about that? Hang on, let me just make sure here. Hang on. Yeah, Rand Paul is up for election in 2028. And what was I going to say? Gallrein ran for the 7th Senate District in 2024, losing narrowly in the Republican primary. That district, which consists of Shelby and Spencer counties located in the western portion of this House seat, is likely to be his base in the primary. So according to Decision Desk HQ, the western part of the district, here's the district up here, the western part of the district is expected to do better for Gallrein. On the other hand, Massie has historically run best around his home base in the eastern rurals, and we should expect similar results this year. The election is thus likely to be decided in the 3 ex-urban counties right outside Cincinnati, namely Boone County, Kenton County, and Campbell County, which collectively, these 3 counties here, collectively make up just short of 50% of the expected primary electorate. If any candidate is winning those 3 up here by a significant margin, that bodes very strongly for their chances district-wide. So let's keep an eye on especially Kenton. Gallrein has a bit of a lead in Kenton, Boone, and Campbell. Is this primary open or closed? That's a good question. I want to say it's closed, but I will tell you. Kentucky is a closed primary state. Republicans and Democrats must stick with their party's ballot. Unaffiliated voters can only vote in nonpartisan races. Danny from Cali says, we in Kentucky love Massie. Well, I'm guessing some love him, but some might not. I don't think everybody does. I mean, we can see votes coming in. San Solo says, up here near Cincinnati is solid Trump support. Oh, I should say votes coming in. Results coming in. I don't want to say in. Votes being tallied in Thomas Massie primary in Kentucky. Thank you, by the way, to Renee, our viewer, Speed Clutch Go, JT91 Notabot, Crypto King, Films of Greatness, Lidwine Elizabeth, thank you. Appreciate you guys all being here. Thanks also Wall Street for subscribing and everybody for watching. And well done. Yes, this is the Republican primary, but whoever wins this almost certainly will win the House seat because it's a red district. Now, let me also check for some updates here. Henry Olson, who's an elections expert I follow, says it's normal for the results to come in slowly there. Expect results to start picking up over the next half hour. VoteHub says, this is what VoteHub says. They say Massie appears on track to lose the early vote, potentially by 10 points or more. The race is not over, but he will likely need a strong election day performance to win the election. That's what VoteHub thinks. And then Zachary Danini also says Gallrein now looks very likely to win the early vote, leaving Massie needing a strong election day rally, which is possible, with election day likely to make up most of the votes. And I just want to see here. Decision Desk HQ says if Gallrein defeats Massie, it would mark the third primary this month in which a Trump target lost a GOP primary. On May 5th in Indiana, 6 of 8 Republican state senators who opposed a Trump-backed redistricting effort lost renomination after Trump endorsed their challengers. On May 16th, Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy lost in his primary, finishing third after Trump endorsed his challengers. One in specific, but Trump told people not to vote for Bill Cassidy. Now the question is, will Massie join them? Will Massie join them? Reuters says President Trump is targeting Thomas Massie in today's Republican primary in Kentucky, backing a challenger to try to purge one of his loudest critics from within the party. This is the most expensive primary ever in U.S. House history. The most expensive primary ever in U.S. House history. I believe over $34 million has been spent on it. This will again test Trump's hold over Republicans as he successfully pushed out another key critic, Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, and scored victories against dissenting incumbents in Indiana. If Massie loses, it will reinforce Trump's dominance over core supporters in the party ahead of the November midterm elections and send a warning to other Republicans about the potential cost of defiance. Massie incurred Trump's ire, his anger, by successfully leading a push to release the Epstein files and his criticism of the Iran war, says Reuters. And just to mention some of what President Trump has said today about Massie, if I can really quickly show you this, hang on. Well, really quick, I'm going to put up on the screen Trump's posts about Massie today. Look at all of these posts about Massie. First of all, he said, hold on. He said he claims that Congressman Massie put out a many years ago endorsement of him by me. I'm not up to date on this, so I'm not sure about this. This is what Trump is saying, but I'm not up to date on all of this stuff about this supposed endorsement thing that Trump is talking about. I don't know if I can find a quick update on it, but yeah, I'm a little confused. So I'm not sure what this is all about. But he says Massie is a dishonest and desperate guy. I hope the voters aren't fooled by his deception. Earlier today, Trump reposted 4 different posts about Massie. He called him the worst and most unreliable Republican congressman in the history of our country. He said, Tom Massie's a major sleazebag. Get this loser out of politics in today's election. He also said about Massie, he's the worst congressman in the long and storied history of the Republican Party. He's an obstructionist and a fool. Vote him out of office on Tuesday. He also said, bad Congressman Tom Massie voted against tax cuts at the border while our military and law enforcement. Actually, he voted against almost everything that is good. The worst Republican congressman in history. Vote the bum out on Tuesday. We can't live with this troublemaker for another 2 years. He's a true negative force. President Trump also said about Thomas Massie that he is a weak and pathetic rhino from Kentucky. He is the worst Republican congressman in history. He must be thrown out of office. He said that Massie voted against tax cuts, the wall, law enforcement, and in favor of the transgender mutilization of children, men playing in women's sports, and so many horrible things. I do not know personally Thomas Massie's voting history well enough to confirm or deny any of these things. Again, he really does not like Thomas Massie. So I just wanted to show you that. Dreamer thinks Trump is telling the facts, while Patriotic Standard says Trump went downhill quick. Thank you, I am Charlie, who thinks Massie is a rhino and traitor to Trump's party. Thank you also, Uncommonly Common Sense. Thanks, Arnold Ziffel Greenacres and Speed Clutch Go. Oh, I wanted to get you guys what the expected vote total is. Estimated, well, I'm going to have to go and see. Hang on. Let me look up the 2024. Oh, I can look it up right here. Look. So in 2024, in the primary, Massie won 76%. This is the primary in 2024. And there were 52,000 votes, about 52,500 votes. Now, I don't know, maybe I could see, because I mean, he won by a lot. I don't know, will turnout be greater in this race because it's closer? I don't know. But that gives you, well, actually what I can tell you is that this says 5.14%. So that suggests that they're looking for a much higher turnout. That suggests that the turnout is supposed to be probably over 100,000 votes, because only 5.41% is in. Yeah, we'll be using the map to check out the different counties. A bunch of these counties have no votes in, or very few. Most of the vote is the election day vote. Again, this is the most expensive House primary race ever. More than $30 million in ad spending. The fight for Massey's district, says Reuters, spanning Louisville's suburbs, the Kentucky side of the Cincinnati metro area. Again, the Kentucky side of the Cincinnati metro area, just to be clear. So when you see Cincinnati there, Cincinnati's not in Kentucky, but it's the Kentucky side of this. These are part of the Cincinnati metro area up here. The Kentucky side of the Cincinnati metro area. And then there's also Louisville suburbs, but not Louisville. So Reuters says this district, which spans Louisville's suburbs, the Kentucky side of the Cincinnati metro area, and rural counties on the east edge of Appalachia, is shaping up as the day's marquee contest. Stephen Voss, a political science professor at the University of Kentucky, said the race was a battle between ideological purity and party unity in a conservative district where Trump is overwhelmingly popular, but Massey's buck the establishment brand of libertarianism also runs deep. Professor Voss said a Massey victory will be seen as a sign that it's okay for Republicans to go up against President Trump if they do so with a clear vision. A Massey loss would strike fear in the hearts of other Republicans who want to keep their jobs as elected officials. Thanks so much to Turkey, who says, Trump USA, sit down, Massey. Thank you, Turkey. Also, thanks to Negative74. Thank you for your support. Thanks also Turfard Manat, who says, where is the money coming from, and who would spend $30 million to silence the voice that's calling for the release of the files? I don't know where all the money is coming from. It's a good question, though, but I will say this, that according to Decision Desk HQ, there has been $32.6 million in ad spending, says Ad Impact, and groups have spent $18.8 million supporting Gallrein or attacking Massie, compared to $13.8 million supporting Massie or attacking Gallrein. The most expensive House primary ever. Oh, here's something about the money. I have it from Reuters. Massey's votes against U.S. aid to Israel have drawn a surge of money from pro-Israel groups into the race, with the Republican Jewish Coalition and the American Israel Public Affairs Committee spending heavily to oust Massie. Millions more have come from a Trump-aligned super PAC backed by pro-Israel donors such as hedge fund manager Paul Singer and casino magnate Miriam Adelson. In contrast, Massie says his average donation is under $94, with roughly 33,000 donors nationwide. Although if you add that up, that only adds up to about 3 million. But about 14 million has been spent on his side. Combined spending has reached $32 million. This is the most expensive House primary by far. The second most expensive House primary was $25 million in 2024 in a race to oust Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman in New York. So that was the most expensive House primary before tonight. That was $25 million. This is already over $32 million. Polls reveal a stark generational divide, with younger voters under the age of 45 strongly behind Massie, and Gallrein winning with older voters, especially those over 65. Gallrein has cast himself as a loyal team player who would reliably back Trump, says Reuters. In the closing stretch, Massie has stressed that he still votes with Trump roughly 90% of the time, even as his breakaway positions highlight the risk of alienating Kentucky voters loyal to a president who won the state handily in 2024 with 64.5% of the vote. Shane Noem, the chairman of the Republican Party in Kenton County, which is in the district, said this is really a Trump versus Massie race. Wow. Thanks, Negative. Negative says the money came from Miriam Adelson and APEC. Thank you, Negative 74. Thanks also Jeff T88, PFCR, who thinks Massie has gone too far left. Thanks also Turkey6969 for your support. And Prep Mom. Thank you, Prep Mom. I appreciate it. Our viewer, one of our viewers, who said this, Kingler X said 90% doesn't matter when he votes against Trump's agenda when it really matters. You, David, says Massie is an opportunist. He doesn't care about the truth. Bongino exposed the heck out of him today. Yeah, Paul G says 125,000 voters, $30 million. It's expected to be around, I think, a little over 100,000 votes. Okay, so a few more votes have come in. Now, let me see. Again, I don't know enough about Kentucky voting to look at these numbers in the counties and make much of them. But what I can do is see if I have any analysis for you here from people who know way more than I do. Okay, so Zachary Danini says that in Mason County, where's Mason County? Mason is right there. So Massie is up in Mason County by about 2.5%, with about 80% of the county in. And what Zachary Danini said is that it shifted from, there was some original votes that came, and I think maybe the early votes. And in the first batch of votes, which I think was the early votes, Gallrein was up by about 7% or so, I believe. So what he said is that there's been about, from the initial votes to now, with most of the votes in, there's been about a 10% shift towards, 10-point shift towards Massie. So Zachary Danini says that this is the second data point showing, he's with VoteHub. He says that's another data point showing that Massie is doing better with the election day vote than the early vote. Most of the vote is supposed to be the election day vote. More votes starting to come in now. We have 12% of the vote in. It's not in a lot of counties. Most counties don't have that much vote in. We're talking, most counties do not have that much in. So I'm not going to start jumping to conclusions here. Some counties have no votes in. But right now, Gallrein is up by about 800 votes. But the votes are coming in. What is going to happen? Thank you, Pineapple Water. Thank you, Lena Imbandi. Lena Imbandi, thank you. Who thinks America's version of democracy is who has more money. And thinks Israel has colonized the USA. That's what Lena said. Lena is in, was it South Africa? South Africa. Thanks, Lunar Guardian. Hang on one moment here. Again, President Trump has been very outspoken. He posted numerous times today on True Social, for example, saying people should vote for Ed Gallrein and talking about how much he dislikes Thomas Massie. So what is going to happen here? Hang on, I want to give you maybe another update here, some more background as we wait here. We'll take some more comments from you guys. And the Washington Post has a headline, Republican fights to survive Trump's wrath in most expensive House primary ever. Thomas Massie, a Republican congressman who has repeatedly crossed President Trump, is in the fight of his political life to beat back a Trump-endorsed challenger tonight. His race against farmer and former Navy SEAL Ed Gallrein has become the most expensive U.S. House primary on record, with more than $32 million spent on ads. Trump allies and pro-Israel groups critical of Massie have spent big testing the president's grip on the GOP base and the ability to oust conservatives who defy him. Few Republicans, says the Post, in Congress have clashed more bitterly with Trump over the last year than Massie, who has bucked the GOP on key votes and, against Trump's wishes, led a bipartisan bill that forced the release of the government's full files on Jeffrey Epstein. A victory for Gallrein would send a warning to Republicans already loath to challenge Trump as he and his allies flex their power in the primaries. Blue Line says, these people that think Israel is behind everything are freaking nuts, man. Patriot Defender says, goodbye, Massie. Seems like it might be close, guys. We are looking at the votes.decisiondesk.hq. Sorry, we're looking at Decision Desk Votes beta platform. You can go there at votes.decisiondeskhq.com. Whew, guys. Hey, shout out to our moderators. I really appreciate our moderators being here. Thank you to all of our mods. Let me shout out a few of our mods while I have a second. On Twitch, LB Prairie on Matthew Kohai 3. Thanks for modding. Also, thanks Fernie Man for subscribing on Twitch. Also, Linda Bell, Clary, Misha on X, and also on Facebook. Pam Hyde, our viewer, hopes Massie loses big. Hey, thank you, Kay Lowry Body, for modding. Thanks, Kristen McConnell Gates, for the Facebook stars. Susan Kerrigan, our viewer, says, let's go, Massie. Thanks, Michael Fergal, who's moderating. Thank you, Michael, our new moderator over on Facebook. Thanks, Barry Eisler, for subscribing over there. Brian Davia, thanks for subscribing. Ruth is moderating over on YouTube. Thank you, Ruth. Oh, we got a few more votes in. A few more votes. And again, most of the votes are not in. They're not. Let me just show you the counties here, too. So here are some of the counties here. I don't know if you can see this. Oh, you know what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to do something that allows me to show you the counties better. Let me do it this way. Hold on. Let me do this. I'm going to do something that allows me to show you the counties. For when we need it. For when we need it. Let me just, I know it's a little confusing right now. Hang on. I know it's blocking the screen. It won't always be blocking the screen. But I do want to just get this up there so I can have it to look at when we need it. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so just so you can see here, most of the counties that you're looking at are not that many votes. Mason has 90% in, and Robertson has 95% in. So I wonder if any experts are drawing conclusions based on Mason and Robertson. I'll have to look that up. Let me do some research here. But let me get back on for you right up there, our totals. Let's see. Okay, Zachary Danini with VoteHub. Zachary Danini, you can follow him on X. He says that Gallrein has the edge for now, though a final read may take hours. Wow. Wow. Dubai Whip says, imagine being made to believe Massie is bad for exposing the files and questioning Israel's influence. You really have to have no brain activity. Wow. We got some strong views in our chat. A lot of people talking about Israel in our chat. Bucky Badger says Robertson is the oldest county median in Kentucky. Is that true, Bucky Badger? I asked Gemini. Gemini says Robertson County is actually among the younger counties in Kentucky. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it right now. If you want, you can research it. Remember, as the Washington Post says, 2 weeks ago, Trump-endorsed candidates unseated several Republican state lawmakers in Indiana who had refused to go along with Trump's U.S. House redistricting plan in Indiana. And this past weekend in Louisiana, which we covered. Oh, no, this was this weekend. I kept saying it was last week. Over the weekend, Senator Bill Cassidy in Louisiana became the first sitting senator to lose a primary in almost a decade after he had voted in 2021 to convict the president in the impeachment trial after January 6th. President Trump came out strongly against Bill Cassidy, and Cassidy lost his primary several days ago. Trump yesterday called Massie an obstructionist and a fool on social media. And also remember, President Trump's defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, I think it was yesterday, took the unusual step of campaigning with Gallrein and touting their shared military service. That was yesterday. Republicans on both sides of the contest expect it to be close. The Washington Post calls this one of the most dramatic primaries of 2026. GOP strategist in Kentucky, Trey Watson, said, Gallrein has Trump and Massie has incumbency. It's hard to beat an incumbent. If Massie loses, it's a combination of Trump and just a 12-year compounding of picking up a couple of enemies here and a couple of enemies there. Massie has frustrated House GOP leadership, breaking with the Republican Party on high-profile votes for which they needed near unanimity among Republicans, including the president's signature tax and spending legislation, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. He has also long clashed with the pro-Israel wing of the Republican Party. Massie has opposed U.S. aid to Israel and was the only House Republican to vote against a resolution condemning anti-Semitism that he said went counter to the First Amendment. Super PACs affiliated with the Republican Jewish Coalition and the bipartisan AIPAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee, are each spending more than $4 million on ads to defeat him. Trump's opposition to Massie has made this race the toughest of Massie's career. Trump recruited Gallrein to run against Massie, says the Post, and top strategist on Trump's 2024 campaign launched a super PAC, MAGA KY, that has spent nearly $7 million on ads blasting Massie for voting against Trump's agenda in Congress and playing clips of Trump calling him a real loser. One of the pro-Trump's group's most recent ads suggests Massie is in a throuple with liberal lawmakers Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar using AI to show Massie holding hands and dining with them. Massie brags that Trump's attacks have only helped him raise money. We got some more votes in. Again, most of the votes are not in yet. Gallrein with an early lead. I saw analysis from DDHQ saying that they thought that these three counties up here in the Cincinnati metro area could be key. Now, so far, Gallrein is winning in that one, but I don't know. I mean, it's early there. 28% of the vote in. That's Kenton County. Gallrein is also winning in Boone County with about a third of the vote in there. And nothing in Campbell County. Okay, here is what Henry Olson said. Henry Olson is an election analyst I follow. Henry Olson with EPP-CDC, he thinks that it's looking good for Gallrein because he said that Gallrein leads by 10% in Oldham County and Massie has to win this county and the three Cincy Burb counties and Lewis by at least 10% total. So Oldham County, where's that? Boo, boo, boo. Why can't I find Oldham? Boone, Owen, Henry, Carroll, Nelson, Oldham. There's Oldham County right there. So about 23% of the vote in. So Henry Olson, who's an elections expert, he thinks that Massie has to win Oldham County to win this race. And Henry Olson also thinks that Massie has to win the three Cincinnati suburb counties here. And also Lewis by at least 10% total. He's currently winning in Lewis by a lot, by 37%. Oh, I think he means that in those, I think what Henry Olson thinks is in that if you add up all those counties I just mentioned, Oldham and the three Cincinnati Burbs counties and Lewis, he thinks that total Massie has to win those five counties by a total of 10%. I think that's what Henry Olson is saying. check a couple other things here. One moment. One moment. So more votes came in. We're at 24% of the vote in. The experts I've been looking at seem to think right now that Gallrein has an edge. Inevitable thinks it's epic fail Massie. And I just want to again mention what DDHQ said. DDHQ said that in their analysis, they said that the election is likely to be decided in these three counties in the right outside of Cincinnati, which is north of these counties. Cincinnati is not in Kentucky, but these are Metro Cincinnati. And Boone, Kenton, and Campbell County here. And they said if any candidate is winning these three by a substantial amount, that bodes very strongly for their chances. And so right now, Boone County, about a third of the vote is in, and Gallrein is winning by about 15% there. 28% of the vote is in Kenton. Gallrein is winning by about 8% there. So we'll keep an eye on that. Nothing in from Campbell County yet. Thank you, Jolly Lollipop, for your support. Thank you, Mitchell Pilot. Mitchell Pilot thinks that Massie has lost. Thank you, Jeff T88 PFCR, who says nearly 10% lead by Massie. Thank you, Seth LX, for your support, who says Massie equals USA, Gallrein equals Israel owns USA. Thanks, Kit Cav, and I am Charlie, and Cerebrus Crafts, who thinks Israel has taken our country over. Thanks, Bernard Tapey. Thank you so much, Bob Pacheco, for your support. And Pineapple Water, thank you for your support. And E1991M, who thinks it's over for Massie. Thanks for your support. Mering, our viewer, thinks Massie needs to win. Deborah says Rhino out. Joey Carson says one of the counties is going to flip red within half an hour. So red here is Massie and yellow is Gallrein on this map here. We are looking at live at the Massie watch party. We'll see him speak no matter what happens. Well, unless he doesn't speak, but I certainly assume he'll be speaking. Yeah, let's look at the counties for a second. Let me show you the counties with the most votes outstanding, just to show you here. So this is an incomplete list of the counties, but these are the biggest counties with the most Republican registered votes. This is a closed primary. So Kenton has 28% reported. Boone is Boone and Kenton, are these the three? No, Kenton is not. Kenton is 28%. Boone is 33%. Campbell is 0% in. And Shelby has no percent in. So these are the five biggest ones in terms of, and you can see the drop in terms of the number of GOP registrations, and it drops off to 10,000, and then fewer the ones below. So I just wanted to show you, just in terms of the biggest counties there, what the numbers are. We'll keep an eye on that. So a few more votes came in now. See, what I can't do is, if you have like, if they had run against each other 2 years ago, then you could go back and look at what happened 2 years ago and say, oh, well, Massie got this and Gallrein got this 2 years ago, and now they're doing better or worse than they did 2 years ago. But if I go to 2 years ago, I mean, Massie won by 76%. So I can't just look at it and say, it was a very different race 2 years ago. So I can't, I don't have the background knowledge to look at the counties and know, well, maybe there's part of this county that normally reports late, and this part of the county that normally reports late is normally pro or anti-Massie. I don't know. Oh, thank you, Jeff TE88 PFCR, who says, I honestly didn't think Massie would lose. The Trump effect is real. By Cornyn. Thanks also, Sir Preston, who thinks this race is a disgrace to American democracy. 30 million buys you a seat, apparently. Over $32 million spent in this race, the most expensive primary in history. And the second most was $25 million. Thank you, Erwin Ball, who says Massie is doomed. Who says, oh, so yeah, let me just mention here, if you're wondering about the betting sites, just really quick, just to give you an update on that. On Kalshi right now, Gallrein is at 97.6%. And on Polymarket right now, Gallrein is at 98.9%. Just so you know. I am checking for updates here. We've been, not that many votes have come in the last few minutes. They're kind of trickling in. Let me give you some more background too. Thanks, Andy and Austin, for the gift subscription. And for the bits. Thank you so much, Andy and Austin. I really appreciate that. Hey, thanks, Gonzalez, for the gift subscription. Andy and Austin actually gave out 6 gift subscriptions. Thank you, Andy. It's very nice of you. Make sure you thank Andy or Gonzalez or somebody else if they give you a gift subscription or a gift membership. So the Washington Post says the spending in this race, which is a record, has surpassed the previous record for a House primary set in 2024, when Democrat George Latimer beat Democrat George Latimer beat Representative Democrat Jamal Bowman in New York. Pro-Israel groups also spent heavily in that race to oust the incumbent, a fierce critic of Israel's war in Gaza. Massie has tangled with Trump for years, says the Post. In 2020, Trump said Massie should be thrown out of the GOP after Massie delayed a $2 trillion bill responding to the coronavirus pandemic and forced his colleagues to return to Washington to pass the bill. But Trump did not back a challenger in 2020, and Massie won re-election easily. This time, Trump has put his full force behind unseating Massie, declaring at a Kentucky rally that he just wanted a warm body to challenge the congressman. Massie's many disputes with Trump include his vocal criticism of the U.S. war with Iran. He criticized Trump's strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities last year as unconstitutional, and this year cast the war as out of step with Trump's America First promises. One of Massie's campaign ads alludes to the war's economic impacts, saying he's in that ad, he is next to a gas pump saying, "We're all feeling it, gas over $4 a gallon." Oof says, bye bye Massie. Salt Life says, methinks it's over. Is Massie about to concede? No, Massie is not about to concede right now. Not with this amount of the vote in. Some more votes are coming in. Let me put up on the screen for you, just so you can see it, our county. There's the counties. That's the list of counties. Oh, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to list them by, that's the list of counties there from GOP registration is what I'm looking at, from bigger to smaller. Still nothing from Campbell County, nothing from Shelby County. Massie is only ahead in Lewis County. I think Massie is from Lewis County. I'll have to double check that. Is that where Massie is from? Hang on, let me double check this. Yes, Massie is from Lewis County. Oh, actually, he's slightly winning in Mason County, too. All right, anyways, we'll go back. I just wanted to show you that. Eddie Spaghetti thinks it's going to be a landslide loss for Massie. Thank you, Mouse Tanker. Thank you. Mouse Tanker, are you complaining about, are you saying that about Gallrein? I don't want to misrepresent you. Hang on. Give me a moment here. So Mouse Tanker says, how can someone whose idea of campaigning from the press is hiding from the press, refused all debates, ran from reporters, refused any public forums, and couldn't articulate a single policy position or how can that person get a single vote? I think that's what Mouse Tanker thinks about Gallrein, by the way. Why is this acting all funky? That didn't help. The Guardian quoted a state representative, Stephen Doan, who's aligned with Kentucky's Liberty Movement, as saying that no one knows anything about Gallrein and claiming that Gallrein isn't running a campaign. and saying he won't debate and won't tell you where he stands on the issues. That's what Stephen Doan of Kentucky's Liberty Movement said about Gallrein. I have not been a close observer of this primary. Oh, Mouse Tanker said he or she was talking about Gallrein, so I got that right. You might disagree with that position, but I wanted to mention that was Mouse Tanker's position. Thanks, Mouse Tanker. Thanks also Erwin Ball, who thinks Massie is doomed. And thank you, Sir Preston. Oh, I meant to thank Sir Preston already. Thank you. Let's see. I want to read some more. Oh, we're up to 30% of the vote is in, and Gallrein still has a 10%, 9% lead or so. And remember, these counties are supposed to be key counties, these 3 south of Cincinnati. And Decision Desk HQ said if one person is winning in these 3 counties, then it's going to be a good night for that person, basically. And right now, Gallrein is winning in all 3 of those exurban counties outside of Cincinnati by 15%, by 9%, and by 9%. It looks like, if I have that right. I don't know if that can change depending on how the votes come in, so I'll have to defer to the experts on that. Austin Horn of the Herald Leader in Kentucky, he said that he thinks the Mason County result right there, Mason is, this Mason vote, it's Massie slightly ahead, but he thinks that's a good result for Gallrein. That's Austin Horn of the Herald Leader. So far, the elections experts I've seen have been saying they think it's going pretty well for Gallrein. Hey, President Trump is speaking at the congressional picnic. Do you want to hear what President Trump is saying at the congressional picnic? Hang on, let me just throw this up there. We'll see what he has to say. I'll make it small. There is President Trump. Let me just do this for a second.
Territory, I want to tell you, we said, let's do it all in one time. And it was 4 years worth in one bill. Everyone said that couldn't be done. And I want to congratulate and thank the Senate, House for the unbelievable job. And while there are too many members in the House and Senate, I see half of you right here, and I'd like to introduce everyone, but I want to let people enjoy themselves tonight. So, but we have so many represented this evening. It will be something very special to remember that all of us here tonight continue a priceless tradition. This really is a great tradition. We represent the oldest and most extraordinary constitutional republic on the face of the earth, and a special privilege and a unique responsibility it is. It's really something very special. I'm standing here and I'm looking at our great American flag, and it's hard to believe, but I put that in 2 months ago, that, and I put one on the other side. You know, this is actually, in theory, this would be, I consider them both, we have two fronts. I've never figured out, nobody else has either, since if you think about it, 1792, nobody's figured out which is the front and which is the back of the White House. So when I'm speaking here, I say the front, and when I speak over there, I say the front. It actually has two fronts, and I put two flags up, and it's a great pole, and it's a beautiful flag, and it's amazing that it wasn't up before. We have another flag slightly smaller on the top of the White House, but it's a little bit on the smaller side. But everybody loves that pole. It's a beauty, and it represents so much. And I want to thank the company that put it up. They're the best. I think they make the best. It's hard to believe. I have so many different developments all over the world. I always like putting the flag up, and I know a lot about flagpoles, and that's the best flagpole there is, okay? So congratulations. We have two of them. We got actually two for the price of one. We negotiated a tough deal. But finally, we have a really representative flagpole and flag up in front of our White House, so that's good. I also want to recognize the incredible congressional spouses, families, and children who make enormous sacrifices so that their loved ones can serve, so that their loved ones can get beat up by the fake news, so that their loved ones can also beat up the enemy. And they do that. They do. They're warriors. It's not easy, and I want to give them, the spouses, a very special hand today. Thank you. Thank you, darling. Thank you very much. Thank you. You put up with a lot. It's not easy. But on the eve of the 250th year, there's so much for our country to celebrate regarding the party. We have a party that's really at a point that I don't think we've ever been at. And America's thriving, America's winning, and America's respected, perhaps like it has never been respected before. If you go back 2 years, we were not respected. We were a dead country. I'll tell you what, we were a dead country. And today we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. There's nobody even close. And I don't know if you saw the numbers today, but the stock market's at an all-time high. We had 67 all-time highs, so we've been here for a little bit more than a year now, and we had 67 all-time highs. And I want to say that in our first term, we finished the term out, despite COVID and all the other things, we had really an amazing period of time, and we finished at the highest point in the history of the stock market. And now we're blowing it away. We're blowing everything away, and we're going to end that war very quickly. They want to make a deal so badly. They're tired of this. Should have happened for 47 years. Somebody should have done something about it, and it's going to happen, and it's going to happen fast, and you're going to see oil prices plummet. They're going to come down. There's so much oil out there. They're going to come plummeting down. But even with that, the stock market's at an all-time high. Jobless claims recently hit the lowest level since 1969, the best numbers since 1969, and more Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think of that. And we have a war. We have something happening that we just hit. It's very interesting. 2.5 months ago, we hit the best numbers that we've ever hit as a country. Jobs, the best. Everything was the best. Stock market, the highest. And I called my people in. I called them in. I said, congratulations, everybody, but we're going to have to make a little journey down to a place called Iran. We have to stop them. They have nuclear on their mind, and we're not going to let them have a nuclear weapon. And we've done a hell of a job, and I think we're going to be finished with that very quickly, and they won't have a nuclear weapon, and hopefully we're going to get it done in a very nice manner. Factory construction, as you heard today, also is up. Housing starts are up, and consumer spending is up. All things, we have an economy. People aren't seeing it yet. When we inherited, when we started, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country, and we actually had, just before the war, before the energy forced other things up, but up or down, we had the best numbers. We had inflation was at 1.6% for the last 3 months just prior to the war. And now you're going to see numbers like that again. We inherited high prices, and we got the prices down, and we got them down to numbers that in some cases people have not seen before. But think of it, inflation at 1.6%. Manufacturing right now is booming. American companies are purchasing core capital goods at the highest amounts ever in the history of our country. Our previously wide open border is now the most secure border in the history of the United States of America. And last year, remember, we inherited a mess. And last year, we had the largest drop in murder.
All right, I got to cut in here. I got to cut in because a bunch of votes just came in. We're now up to almost half the vote is in. And Massie is down by, all right, I'm going to move President Trump for a second. Massie is down by, where was I here? Massie is down, hold on. There, okay. Massie is losing by about 10.5%, and we're up to about half the vote in. And I want to look at some of these counties here. So Boone, so remember that Decision Desk HQ said that these three counties in suburban or exurban Cincinnati metro area, Cincinnati, Ohio, but this is south of there, are key. So 83% in Boone County, and Gallrein is up by 10% there. 56% in Campbell County, and Gallrein is up by a little bit there. And Gallrein is currently up by about 8% in Kenton County. So a number of votes just came in. Let me see if there's any kind of new Zachary Danini says that from VoteHub says Massie is in a very difficult position right now. I think you could get a call pretty soon from Decision Desk HQ. I think it might not be too long until we get a call in this race. The experts I've been following have been saying that the numbers are looking good for Gallrein right now. Mr. Bigley Uncredible thinks stick a fork in it. Sky Zoe thinks it's over. Hey, thanks Robert292 for your support. Thanks Robert292 and also Firestar thank you. Also Eric Glowacki, who thinks Massie only votes against Republicans when they're starting wars, bankrupting our country, or covering for predators. Thank you Mouse Tanker for your support, and Jeff TE88 and Julie Smith. Julie thinks Massie's another Marjorie Taylor Greene. Thanks, I Am Charlie. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of the other races in a little bit, I Am Charlie. Thanks, Aaron Jones and M. Waller. M. Waller thinks only Democrats want Massie to win. And Mouse Tanker thinks a Gallrein vote is a vote for autocracy. It's a showdown between the Constitution and renegade populism. Thank you, Aaron Jones, who says, I like Massie, but why would any Republican vote for him if he's increasingly voting against Republican-backed bills? He calls him Fetterman 2.0. Now, Fetterman is a Democratic senator from Pennsylvania, but thank you, Aaron Jones. Aaron thinks they are similar. I appreciated Aaron Jones. Thank you, M. Waller, and also Resistor CIO, who thinks the right woke lost. Thanks, Launchpad GP, who says, is Massie out of step, or is the GOP trillions being added to the debt under Trump and Congress and GOP Congress? Wars, tariffs, inflation. What have we become? Mr. Stoic Reader says, what does Gallrein even stand for? Darkmoor says, we love Trump. Shake says, Kentucky let the world down today. No Croxy says, thank you, Kentucky. West Downer says, Massie's going to lose. We're just at about 50% right now, guys. Henry Olson, who I follow, who is a elections expert, he thinks it's over. Henry Olson thinks that the rural vote left will pad Gallrein's margin. Lewis is Massey's home county. There are not that many votes left there, though. Most of the votes are in Mason County. That's the other county where Massey is leading in there. Most of the votes are in there. I think Decision Desk HQ is going to call this too. Oh, hold on a second here. Hey, I just heard from Decision Desk HQ that they are close to making a projection. So I have it on very reliable information that Decision Desk could be making a projection soon in this race, guys. Breaking news. It has been called breaking news. Decision Desk HQ has projected the race for Ed Gallrein. Breaking news. They are projecting it for Ed Gallrein. Decision Desk HQ projects Massey will lose. Let me show you. They have just called, it's right there. There's the check mark on the screen. Big breaking news. Decision Desk HQ has called the race. They have called the race. Here is their post. I can show you. Decision Desk HQ calls the race for Ed Gallrein. Massey, who has been in that seat, I think since, was it 2012, he will no longer be in this seat next year. Yes, this was pretty fast. All told, I mean, well, polls closed at 6, but it was thought it may take hours and may be super close. But Decision Desk HQ has called the race. Big breaking news. Thomas Massie projected to lose primary in Kentucky. There is the check mark right there. You can see it on your screen. They have made the call. Decision Desk HQ. President Trump will be happy about this. He's speaking right now still. I wonder if he's going to say anything about this live. Will somebody hand him a note or something? He's been speaking at the White House. There's like a picnic going on.
Building plants, thousands of plants all over our country, $18 trillion. It's many times greater.
All right. Well, I'll keep an eye on that. But he is speaking at the congressional picnic. We can always replay it. So we're going to have Thomas Massie speaking, but I mean, you can see Gallrein with 52% of the vote in is up by 9.5%. 9.5%. My Florida says wasn't even close. So breaking news. Several days after Bill Cassidy, senator of Louisiana, lost his primary after President Trump endorsed against him, Thomas Massie, who President Trump really does not like, who President Trump has been strongly telling people to not vote for him for months now, and endorsed his challenger, and I think helped pick his challenger, certainly approved of his challenger, Ed Gallrein. Thomas Massie losing his primary. Breaking news. Big breaking news here. Wow. Wow. We're going to take some comments from you guys. We are going to take comments from you guys. Trav Rake says, let's go. Perpetually in perpetuity says, Adelson bought the election. Mr. Mack says, Massie is toast. Navy Style says, I'm so happy I'm floating on cloud 9. Blue Line says, another rhino bites the dust. Underwater Man says, the Trump effect. Kina Rose says, Trump is a dictator. Get a Rope says, Kentucky fails America yet again. Alexis, Texas says, LMAO, I can't wait for this general election. Wow. 57% of the vote in now, guys. It's a 9% lead for Gallrein, and this has been called. This race has been called. We will listen to what Massie has to say. Give me a moment here. Oops, sorry. Hold on. We went away from the poll. Here we go. Breaking news. Here we go. There we go. No, let's get back to this. There we go. Now we're back. We're back on our page. We are back on our page. We are waiting to hear from Massie. When will we hear from Massie? We're going to talk about some of the other races too, guys. Oh, thank you to Julia. To Craig Newell. Craig Newell and Julia Barnes, thank you for the support. We're now up to 70% of the vote is in. It is slightly closer, but it is still a 7.4% lead for Ed Gallrein with 70% of the vote in. Just to show you on the counties here, in terms of the counties, the top counties, we have just about all in Kenton County. So, I mean, Massie is only, let me see if I can get, I'm going to show you all the counties here. So what you can see is Massie is winning in Lewis County, but that's not a very big county. So he could be expected to pick up some more votes there, but they're 76% in. Massie is up by a little bit in Oldham County. 72% of the vote is in there. He's up by 3%, so it's not that much. And then also, where else? Oh, sorry. Down here, Massie is up by 1.6% in Mason County, and all the votes are in, basically. And then, for example, in Nelson County, look at Nelson. I mean, there's only 1% of the vote in, and Gallrein is way ahead there, and that normally has about, expected votes. Oh, expected votes remaining. This is what I should be doing. I'm sorry. Estimated votes remaining. I'm an idiot. Here we go. Estimated votes remaining. Shelby County, 0 votes in. I don't know why. 3,800 votes or so left in Boone County where Gallrein is winning. 3,760 left in Oldham where Massie's up by a little. 3,700 in Campbell while Gallrein's up by a little. 3,700 in Nelson where Gallrein's up by a lot. 2,300 in Greenup where Gallrein's up by a bunch. 1,700 in Owen where Gallrein's up by a significant amount. 1,700 here, Gallrein's up. So if you just, I mean, I'm just eyeballing this, But if the remaining votes work out the way the votes have been going, I'm not seeing a huge amount. There's no obvious place for Massie to pick up a ton of votes with what's left. I mean, I guess in theory something else could happen. I'm just saying, without knowing anything, seeing the amounts in and seeing where these votes are. Again, by far the best county is for Lewis County is the best for Massie, but only 900 votes left there. And Shelby County, if I can tell you something about that, what did DDHQ say about that? Yes, Shelby is supposed to be part of Gallrein's base. Shelby County, where no votes are in yet and about 10,000 are estimated, is supposed to be a good Gallrein county. So it's just not expected that the rest of the votes coming in are going to be enough, nearly enough, that he'll be able to pick up votes in those counties. 70% of the vote in now, and Gallrein up by 7.6%. Matt DWW says not enough. When is this? We're waiting. It says further live coverage is expected. We're waiting to get that stream back. Hopefully, we'll get it back in a second. Hang on a moment here. The Massie stream temporarily went down, but it says further live coverage. Oh, there it is. The Massie stream is back. We're waiting to hear Massie speak. This was one of the most high-profile primaries, most expensive House primary ever. Thomas Massie has lost, projected by DDHQ. By the way, thanks to Marlboro McCoy, who says, congratulations to Israel on this tremendous win. Thank you, Marlboro McCoy. Thanks, I Am Charlie, who says, make America great in Kentucky, Rhino out. Thank you, Wes Downer. Wes Downer thinks that for all the attention he got himself, Massie did nothing for his district or for Kentucky. That's what Wes Downer thinks. Thank you, Michael Hutchinson, who says, I wonder how this midterm election is going to go. Now, I think you're talking about the midterms in general. This seat is supposed to be a safe, very strong, safe Republican seat. Hang on a second here. Thank you also, Erwin Ball, who says, rhinos never learned, don't cross Trump. Thanks also to Films of Greatness. I'll have to look into that Films of Greatness. You're talking about Georgia court nominees. I'll have to look into it. We're going to talk about some other of the races after. Thank you, Films of Greatness. Thank you also, Mitchell Salazar. Yeah, this is a solid Kentucky 4 back in the presidential election. Kentucky 4 was, where is it here? Why can't I just find it? Why is it so hard to find? If I Google it, it should just come up. Seems like that should be easier. President Trump won the district, Kentucky 4, by 36% in 2024. This is a strong Republican district. This is not working. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't. Oh, no, that's true. Is that what it was? 2022 election. I don't know if there's been any district change in this district since then. Yes, President Trump won the district by about 35 points in 2024. Thank you, Resistor CIO, who says Kentucky has a sore loser law that you can't run in the general if you lose in a primary. I mean, I haven't heard any talk that Matthew was going to try to do that anyway. Is this true? According to Ballotpedia, Kentucky has an explicit sore loser law. That means you cannot run as an independent or another party if you lose in the primary. Thank you, Resistor. Thank you, Michael Hutchinson. Thank you, Jeff TE88 PFCR and Resistor CIO. We got to give you some more updates here. 73% of the vote, and we're obviously waiting to hear from Thomas Massie right now. Yes, as one of our viewers says, Fox News has also called it. CNN and Fox have also, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox have all, CNN, MS Now, and Fox have all called the race now. Yes. AP has called it as well. AP has called the race as well, guys. AP has called it for Gallrein. It is over. Loses primary in KY to Trump-backed opponent. Thomas Massie is out. Keeping an eye on the Massie. Maybe I should make this a little bigger here. I'm going to make the Massie. We'll eventually go full screen. We're eventually going to go full screen. But before we go full screen, I'll make it a little bigger for you so you can see it right there. But when Massie comes out to speak, we will go full screen. One of our viewers, Co-Bunny, says, holy crap, they voted him out. 80% of the vote in now, and Gallrein is up by over 8%. Wendy Darling says, bye-bye, rhinos. Thank you, Ann Ryan. Yeah, Mitch McConnell is not running. He has announced that he is not serving. The Trump-backed Andy Barr tonight won the nomination for Mitch McConnell's Senate seat, which we'll talk about some other races after. Thank you so much, Ann Ryan. Also, John Mitchell Jr. Thank you, John Mitchell Jr. and Jace Rez and Mouse Tanker and Launchpad GOP and White Wolves and I Am Charlie. Jace Rez says Massie was the only one standing between Israel lobbyists and us, critical of the war and wanted to lock up all the heads. How anyone with a clean conscience could vote against him is maddening to me, says Jace Rez. Thank you, Jace Rez. Smokey Bear says, thank God he's gone. Rectum says, AIPAC wins again. Get ready for the end. Thank you so much to all of our moderators who are moderating. I really appreciate it. Moderators, thank you. Again, we're waiting for Massie to speak. Thanks, and in Austin for the gift sub, too. And in Austin gave some more gift subs. A number of gift subs. Thanks, and in Austin. I think he's given about 10 gift subs. Andy in Austin. Yeah, sorry, Andy in Austin. Andy in Austin gave like 10 gift subs. Thank you. So we're waiting for Massie to speak. We're waiting for Massie to speak. That guy Homestead says Massie is finding out what happens when you don't faithfully represent the people who elected him. Soul Air says, too bad one of 4 based Republicans. We are waiting for Massie. This was the most expensive primary election ever in the U.S. Over $32 million spent. Dave KP says it's official. Trav Rake says another win for the Epstein crew. You know, Decision Desk HQ had said they thought that the Massie would do better in the eastern part of the state and not of the district, and Gallrein would do better in the western part of the district. Just move this over for a second. And that they thought that 3 key counties would be these 3 south of Cincinnati here, Campbell, Kenton, and Boone. And they said if one candidate is winning in all those counties, that's a good sign. Well, look, Campbell, Gallrein by 5, Kenton, Gallrein by 5, Boone, Gallrein by 11. Dan's thinks that Thomas Massie is having to rewrite his speech. Bonnie thinks Kentucky voters are ignorant and Trump-loving. Ryan James, let's go, says Massie sucks. Zane says the experts were wrong again. Well, I mean, Decision Desk HQ, at the start of the night, they had put out something today that said, if anything, they'd rather be Gallrein. I remember a number of votes over the last few years where Massie was one of the only Republicans who was not going along with Trump. Thank you, Gregory Scherer, for the membership. Thanks, Friendly Gardner, for being a member, who says everyone deserves to vote their preference. Thanks, Venom Snake, who says, yes, blame the voter. I'm sure that will work. Thank you, Hotfix, who says Massie is awesome. Pray for Kentucky. Thanks, I Am Charlie, who says MAGA is sweeping across the greatest nation on earth. Midterms are a red tsunami. Act like we are down by 2 touchdown in 4th quarter, says I Am Charlie. Hang on one second here. Hang on one second here. Let's see here. We're waiting for Massie to speak. I assume he's going to speak soon. Let's see here. Thanks to our moderators as we wait for Massie to speak. We're going to be bringing you that live. Thanks to our moderators. Beth Mythical is moderating, Haley Girl and Ruth on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Also, over on Twitch, we have right now moderating LB Prairie Dawn, Matthew Kohai 3 and Sarah, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha on X. On Facebook, Michael Fergal, K. Lowry Body, thank you so much for modding there. I can't, I think there's probably still music playing here. Yeah, I can't play the sound yet at the Massie event because they're playing music. But I can put on the screen awaiting Massie remarks. Awaiting Massie remarks. Let's see here. Wisco Joe says, I could see Massie winning his seat back after the next presidential election. His political popularity isn't indicative of this primary, as dumb as that may sound. I wonder if Massie would consider running in a couple of years. It's a good question. The camera zooming in on the Massie. It looks like maybe soon the camera was zooming in. Rary Patton thinks Massie won't be president ever. Connie Cerns says it's easy to make sure your candidate wins when you block all the independents from voting. It's basically a cheat. Now, this is a primary. The primary in Kentucky is only Republicans can vote in the Republican primary. The original OSOC thinks Kentucky voters are proving they are paying attention. Tom Riggs says, I hope Massie goes rogue and starts naming names. Thanks, Hotfix. Hotfix claims the election was fixed. I have seen nothing to suggest the election was fixed. Hotfix. Thank you, Hotfix, for your support. Kimberly Geiger, thank you, who says, Trump curse? Now, he was Trump-endorsed. Gallrein. Thank you, Kimberly Geiger, for your support. Thanks, Mouse Tanker, who says, isn't it disconcerting that a leader is openly purging members of his party not 100% loyal to his whims and wishes, even over the Constitution? All right, again, we are waiting for Massie. We are waiting for Massie. When will Massie come out and speak? The crowd is there. They are waiting for him. Maybe I should make this full screen. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go full screen. Here's how we're going to do this. Are you ready for this, guys? I should have done this before. What was I thinking? A few minutes ago, I should have done this. We'll go full here. All right, so hold on. Give me a moment. We'll do that, and then we do this, and I will get the votes up for you too, though. Have no fear. All right, so there's that, and then I'm going to put live awaiting Massie remark. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Awaiting Massie remarks, and then I got to get the vote up for you. So give me a second. Let me do this. Let me do this. So I'll put the votes, I'll put the vote total up for you too. Bear with me here. Here. So we'll take this and we'll get this on the screen for you. There we go. Right there. Ah, there we go. There we go. And I'll make this smaller, but we'll have it up there so you can see it. I guess I can make it a little smaller. Hold on a sec. Doesn't need to be that big. Let's try this again. Let's try this again. There, that's better. Yeah. For now, I'll put it right there. I'll figure out where to put it. Oh my gosh, and I'll sneeze. We are awaiting Massie remarks. We are up to 83% of the vote in, and Gallrein is up by 9.5%. Oh, Shelby County started coming in. So there were no votes in before from Shelby County. And now Shelby County, about 3/4 of the vote is in, and Gallrein is up by 15.7% in Shelby County. So he got some extra votes there. It's winning up by about 10% right now. S. Barr says, very sad Massie lost. He is a good man. Oh, hold on. Is he coming out? I think he's coming out now. All right, here comes. Here he comes. Hang on. I need to.
All right. Listen, I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Gallrein in Tel Aviv. I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way. You know, welcome to the most expensive congressional primary ever in the 250-year history of this country. It's not just the most expensive. This thing went on longer than Vietnam. It started 9 months ago, and they didn't even have a candidate, and they decided they want to take me out. I want to start by thanking the volunteers who have put so much effort into this. Some of you came from all across the country. Some of you are homegrown. I love all of you. I see how this is going to work. I'm going to have to not quit talking or you'll start doing it. I want to thank my staff, too. Some of my staff have been with me from the very first race in 2012, and they have done so much. We've never had, contrary to all the BS you've heard, we've never had a single ethics complaint filed against me or my staff in 14 years. I want to thank the donors. Now listen, I'd name them all, but there's 50,000 donors, okay? We didn't lose this race because we didn't have enough money. You know, it is the most expensive race ever. I think when they add it up, right now they can count 35 million. I think when they add it up, it's going to be a lot more than that, because on our side, we know we spent more than 15 million. And we were able to go toe-to-toe. There was never a week that we got outspent more than 2-to-1 in this entire race once it got underway. And that's also, it wasn't just the grassroots donors. We had a long time, one of my longest friends, he went through a rough spell, and I never left him. I always supported him. And he actually started the Super PAC, the one that nobody knows who runs it, Cliff Maloney. If you're around, would you come up here? Maybe I can get him out here to take some credit. Or if he's in the crowd, just pick him up and surf him over here. Cliff. I see, by the way, I see one of my online influencer heroes, Bobby Sauce, over here. There were a lot of surreal moments in this race, and frankly in being in Congress, but being in a side-by-side racing through the woods with Bobby Sauce was definitely on my, it wasn't even on my bucket list. It was amazing. So, and getting to that point, I want to thank the influencers who came all this way and produced all the videos and got out the young vote. I want to thank my family. That's who we have arrayed back here, my grandbabies, all 3 of them. She's clapping, too. It's a little bit overwhelming for them, but they are what recharges my batteries when I come back from Washington, D.C., these grandbabies. And that's what we're fighting for, really, is the next generation and the next generation after that. But I have to especially thank my wife, Carolyn. Her parents knew what they were doing when they named her. Her middle name is Grace. And, but she's a fighter. I mean, she's been tweeted at twice by the chief executive of the most powerful country in the world. She blames me for that because I didn't invite him to the wedding. But also, she voted this morning, and she came out and she said, well, that was a wild experience. That was great. I never imagined that would happen. And I said, what happened? She said, I got to vote for my husband and my favorite congressman. I said, that's practically a throuple. Oh. in all seriousness, walking out here and seeing all of you has really energized me. And it has all along. But why am I hopeful right now? Because if you looked at the crosstab in the polling, and I'm sure if we had exit polling, it would show the same thing. We have the younger demographic. You are patriots, and you will inherit this country, and you will make it better. And I am hopeful because of that. Thank you. We accidentally, I think, didn't mean to do this. It started out as an election, and it turned into a movement. I think people, if you're not tired of politics, if you're not jaded, if you're not cynical, and so many people are, the people that want somebody that'll go along to get along. I've never heard of that strategy, but that seems to be what the voters want. That's what's been promised to them, but not the young voters. I mean, we stirred up something. There is a yearning in this country for somebody who will vote for principles over party. You all don't like bullies, and you don't tolerate them, and I love you for it. You also, yeah. They couldn't, listen. Hey. If I'd known this speech was going to be this fun to give, I would have come out 15 minutes sooner. Look, for 14 years, those SOBs in Washington tried to buy my vote. They couldn't buy it. Why did the race get so expensive? Because they decided to buy the seat. And it got real expensive for them. Look, they used a lot of dirty tricks, but we stayed the course. We didn't bend a knee. We didn't throw a foul ball. We didn't do any of those things. We didn't kneecap anybody. We had lots of opportunities to try a lot of stuff like that, and we never did it. We ran a clean race. Hey. And by the way, after 18 months of a blackout of not letting me on Fox, they finally let me on Fox today, 4 hours into the election. Hey, their slop is selling, so they'll keep selling it. But listen, I got to watch Fox also for the first time in 18 months. And there was the president talking about, by the way, while gas is almost $5 and diesel's almost $6, they're talking about this big ballroom they're going to build, and it looks like the Roman Empire, architecture from the Roman Empire. I see a few analogies there, and people are just trying to make ends meet. But we were promised that Miriam Adelson would pay for that ballroom, but she spent so much money in this race, they're going to have to reduce the footprint of that thing. But here's one thing I saw on Fox. They were saying, oh my goodness, you know, we're ready for war. We're about to restart this war. We were supposed to restart this war today, but we can't restart this war today. The war can't start today. They said we got to wait a day. And then it occurred to me, where was the Secretary of War yesterday? He was here. Listen. Wait. No. Look on the bright side. No more wars. 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 Guys, knock that off. You're going to make me feel good about losing. What I wanted to do was give you all credit. When they saw the influencers here, they panicked. They sent the Secretary of War here, and you stopped the war for a day. All right. We know we don't want a war, and we know why young people are, and middle-aged people are against the next war. Because we'd be the ones fighting it. They're trying to bring back the draft. Screw that. We're not going to fight. We're not going to fight some other country's wars, are we? No. What else do we stand for? We don't want to send our money overseas. Okay, I'll go for that. I've got a bill to do that. I've also got a bill to end the Ed in the Department of Education. Rand Paul says he wants to pass a law that you need one day to read 10 pages of every bill. I asked Rand, what are you going to do about my bill that's one sentence long to end the Department of Education? That'd be like 5 minutes to read that bill. By the way, do you know how many pages the Epstein Files Transparency Act was? 2 pages. We're tired of meddling overseas. We can't afford it. Our empire will collapse if we keep sending our money to other countries. I never picked a fight with the country that's tried to take me out here because I've never voted for foreign aid to any country. We got to take care of America first. America first. America first. America first. America first. America first. By the way, you remember that organization that Klaus Schwab started called the World Economic Forum? They said you should eat bugs. Do you want to eat bugs? They said you'll own nothing and be happy about it. You want to do that? Well, guess what happened? Guess what happened to Klaus's CEO? He was in the Epstein files. He had to resign. We took out the CEO of the World Economic Forum with a 2-page bill. What else are we for? Look, for years I've been standing up for the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 10th Amendment. I just realized the 7th Amendment is under attack. It's because I serve on the Judiciary Committee. The 7th Amendment is your right to a jury trial. They've taken it away for vaccines. If you get hurt, you can't sue for vaccines. They're trying to take it away for pesticides. They're trying to take it away for these data centers. No. We've been fighting that back. So that's an amendment that, frankly, I didn't think I was going to have to fight for, but I've been fighting for it in D.C., and we need to keep fighting for the 7th Amendment, too. These corporations want get-out-of-court free cards. We're not going to give them one. What else is part of our coalition? Cutting DOGE, cutting spending. They They ran Doge out of town. Elon Musk found out it was easier to land a rocket backwards. It was easier to get a car to drive itself. It was easier to put internet on Antarctica than it was to cut $100 of spending in Washington, D.C. It's a tough problem, but we're not going to give up on that either. Maha. Is anybody here for Maha? Does anybody want to eat poison? No. Do you want the government telling you what to eat? No. Do you want the government telling you to put a needle in your arm? No. I don't either. And that's why I've been fighting all of that stuff. We need food freedom. We need medical freedom. We need all of those freedoms. And we need basic decency. We need basic decency. That's what the Epstein Files Transparency Act was all about. By the way, today is the 6-month anniversary of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. We've taken out 24 CEOs, an ambassador, a prince, a prime minister, a minister of culture. And that was just 6 months. I got 7 months left in Congress. Hey, when did bipartisanship become a dirty word in this country? It never should be. By the way, I'm not even sure that I'm bipartisan. Bi means you like both. I might be transpartisan because I can't identify with either some days. That's the great thing about the polls being closed. They can't run an ad where I claim to be trans. Transpartisan, thank you very much. I don't know which cloakroom to go in. So, but look, if you know, I bet you've been through, some of you studied political science. By the way, that's not a real science. I'm a political science denier. If you're already halfway through that degree, double major in theater and call it political theater. Then you can serve on the Oversight Committee, the Judiciary Committee. You can be on the whip team. What's the difference between a used car salesman and a member of the whip team? The used car salesman knows when he's lying. They go around telling everybody, oh, that good stuff's in the bill. Oh, that bad stuff's not in the bill. I don't blame them. They haven't read the bill. They're not lying. They don't know they're lying. Anyways, bipartisanship, we need to bring this country together. It is not, there's too much of the uniparty in Washington, D.C. What we need is a unity party. Look, we ran a race that you can be proud of. You have to apologize to nobody tomorrow for anything you did. And we kept smiling the whole time. When I was called a moron at the prayer breakfast, I said, I'm glad I'm in his prayers. That would be my advice to you all. Don't dig in. Don't get mad. Don't even try to get even. Just stay on your course. Get our stuff done. Get the things you care about done. We weren't really running against Ed Gallrein. We weren't running against Donald Trump. We were running for what we believe in. Listen, if you always vote with the president, if the legislative branch always votes with the president, we do have a king. If the legislative branch always votes whichever way the wind is blowing, then we have mob rule. But if the legislative branch and the representatives and the senators that serve with it always follow the Constitution, we have a republic. USA. Why are all the loud ones in the front? I could have heard you in the back. Listen, I want to leave you with this. Oh, wait. I want to have a toast. Does anybody have their glasses? If you don't, I saw a few glasses. Okay. This is the one scandal. This is the one scandal they never figured out on me. I get my milk from the Amish cartel. And I don't pay for it with Federal Reserve notes. I trade peaches for dairy. And what I want to do is this is a toast in honor of my late wife. I introduced a raw milk bill, and the milk lobby came after me viciously. They said there wouldn't be enough hospitals for all the kids that would be sick and dying if we had raw milk. But the problem with that is it's already legal in a bunch of states, and I've been drinking it for years. So my late wife's Google alerts were going off. She was getting all this bad press about me up there in Washington, D.C., and she was worried for me. And I've got a pretty thick skin, but she texted me one of those stories, and she said, OMG, I didn't realize the lactose lobby was so intolerant. So let's have a drink. I decided before today that we were going to win or lose today, and we would win either way, whether because on again. You know, when I try to tell my grandson to be quiet tonight, he is not going to listen. He'd probably be saying, Massy, Massy. Here's what I want to leave you with. We won. We won because we started a movement. We showed people that if you're under 50, you want to save this country. But what happened today was God's will. It couldn't happen if God didn't want it to. So our job, and I'm not going to make any announcements tonight. I'm going to go back, have me a medical margarita. I'll hang out and party with you all. You know I don't drink recreationally. I have medical margaritas. I even have a medical margarita card. But what happened today, what happened tonight was God's will. And we have to figure out what was the purpose of having the biggest fight ever. Biggest fight ever. Why did it converge on one of 435 congressional seats right here in Kentucky? What was God's purpose? What is he showing us tonight? We're just getting started. I like that. What happens in 2028? You want? You want me to run for Congress again? I don't know what you're talking about. All right, well, you've made a compelling argument. You spoke your piece, but I need a medical margarita right now. And we'll talk about it later. Thank you and God bless.
Thomas Massie. All right, I can't play the music. That was Thomas Massie speaking after losing his seat that he had held since 2012, I believe it was 2012, to a Trump-backed challenger, Ed Gallrein. Now, Ed Gallrein ended up speaking at the same time that Massie did. So we were focusing on Massie, so I left Massie speaking. So we didn't see Gallrein speak. He was speaking at the same time as Massie. He already spoke. I did want to do a quick poll, and we will look at what is happening with Massie as we do a poll. So do you think Massie kind of teased it? Will Massie run for president in 2028? I didn't say will he win in 2028. I said will he run? Will Massie run for president in 2028? That's my poll question for you. And I'm going to ask it right now. Let me post it in the chat here. Hang on a moment. I have it posted, except I need to post it on Facebook. As we watch Thomas Massie, who has just spoken. Excuse me. Excuse me. Will Massie run for president? Waiting to see also if I assume President Trump will post sometime soon on Truth Social about Massie. I don't think he has yet, though, specifically. No. So I'll look for that. All right. And I'll also show you, you guys. Here's you guys thinking about the poll. You are thinking about the poll. And then you're voting. So let's see what people said. Now, I will say when we did the poll before, the majority of people thought Massie was going to win tonight, who voted in our poll before. So didn't get that run right tonight. On YouTube, 56% think Massie will run for president. 44% say no. On Facebook right now, it is 50-50. And on Twitch, hang on a moment. On Twitch it is, to get it up here on the screen for you. On Twitch, it is 50-50. So people are pretty divided on this in our poll. Pretty even. 55-45 over there on YouTube. Vigilante thinks, of course, he'll run and he'll have a very good chance of winning. Mr. Rubik says if he really wants to burn his own party, he will run. JBSSFL says, why does he look so happy about losing? William Bowser says, will he run as a Republican or a Democrat? So there he is. Hang on a second here. Oopsie, hold on. Hold on a moment. Here we go. There we go. Tim Webster says Massie losing set up the general for a blue wave. Let's see. WFT Jet says Gallrein 2028. Craig Talbert says underestimate Massie at your own peril. Stuck says Rubio versus Massie. Jennifer Observes says Tucker Massie 2028. Thanks for voting in our poll. So 53% on YouTube think Massie will run for president. 50-50 on Twitch. And over on Facebook, it was 50-50 on Facebook. By the way, I want to give a couple thank yous to people. Thank you, by the way. Thank you, by the way, to Mike85322. Thank you, Mike. And Nicolette J for your support. Nicolette said, thank you, Thomas Massie, for your bravery and willingness to do what's right. Thank you again, Mike85322. Mike thinks Trump is being blackmailed by Israel and acting as a foreign agent. Thank you, Jeff TE88 PFCR. Thanks, Jeff, for your support. Thank you to Crazy Yoda for your support, who says, good riddance. Thank you, Man with Two Eyes, who says, Massie Ro Khanna 2028, make the states united again. Crazy Yoda says, I guess having the hate Israel influencers on your side, including squad members, doesn't pay. Thanks, Man with Two Eyes, who says, this was yet another slap in the face from the boomers to the rest of the country. Can't wait till they're out of here. Thank you, Hotfix, for your support. And Bidmoon. Bidmoon said of Massie, got to give credit for this level of delusion. Man with Two Eyes thinks that Ed Gallrein would have lost by 50 points if Trump didn't support him. All right, in a moment, we're going to check out a couple of the other races. But I'll leave this up. There's going to be a runoff primary for governor in Georgia. I'll wait a second. The camera's still on Massie. I think I'm just going to go to the election page. We don't have to see the live feed of Massie anymore, correct? Let's go back to the election page. Let's do that. Well, let me find another one of the races. The feed is off anyway. The feed's off anyway. All right, so I'm going to go back to here. All right, hold on a moment. I need to go back to, we want to get rid of this. No, we want to get rid of that and get rid of this and get rid of that. Okay, now let me pull up Georgia governor. Okay, Burt Jones and Rick Jackson advanced in the Georgia governor race. And that was the Republican. There's going to be a runoff for the Republican seat, Republican primary in Georgia. Trump-endorsed Georgia Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones was the front runner for much of the lead up until healthcare executive and billionaire Rick Jackson entered the race just a few months ago, says AP. Jackson spent millions of his own dollars to flood the state with campaign ads. Many candidates backed by Trump have enjoyed comfortable victories in their elections this primary season, but few have been up against a candidate with such a large campaign budget. Jones and Jackson have advanced to a June 16th runoff election. So that's coming up in June, on June 16th, Jones versus Jackson. Okay. Also, Andy Barr. I want to mention GOP Senate seat primary in Kentucky. Oh, no. We need to go to here. DDHQ votes. Kentucky GOP Senate primary. Andy Barr, big supporter of President Trump, got 59% of the vote. AP says U.S. Representative Andy Barr, who was endorsed by Trump, beat Daniel Cameron, a former state attorney general who leaned into his Christianity on the campaign trail. The winner in November, who is likely to be a Republican, I would think, will replace Senator Mitch McConnell, who is stepping down. Trump swayed the race not just through his endorsement, says AP, but by offering a third challenger, Nate Morris, an ambassadorship just over 2 weeks before Election Day. Morris, who fashioned himself as the MAGA candidate, withdrew from the race and encouraged his backers to support Andy Barr. Andy Barr is expected to win the general election in the Republican-dominated state. Andy Barr is very pro-Trump. If you watch his ads, he talks about being very supportive of Trump. Yes, there was a George Washington, as one of our viewers mentioned. Taylor Ping mentioned that. I don't have Reuters was not at the victory. Reuters was not. I don't have available to me right now the speech from Gallrein. Gallrein was speaking at the same time as Massie, so I couldn't show them both at the same time. Gallrein was already done by the time Massie finished. I wanted to talk about, someone had mentioned the Georgia Supreme Court race. There are a bunch of those, aren't there? Georgia Supreme Court races? Let me look that up. Okay, so there were two races, or there are two races? So the Supreme Court in Georgia is, here, I'll show you the two races. Here's one. That's one seat. And these are both the incumbents are both conservative for both seats are conservative supported, the incumbents. And this is a 6-point difference right now with the conservative supported incumbent versus the liberal backed challenger. And the liberal backed challenger is behind by 6. This race has not been called yet. How about the other one here? Where's the other one there? Georgia Supreme Court, this one. Now that's a 23%. Well, the thing is I don't know where the votes are in from. So, oh no, this has been called. Sarah Hawkins Warren, that has been called by Decision Desk HQ. Let me see if I can find some more about the other one. So, for example, CNN had an article saying that Democrats were aiming to flip these two seats on the Georgia Supreme Court. But one of them, it looks like they're definitely not going to flip. And the other one is, this is the closer, no, that's the one we just looked at. This is the closer one. Oh, so let me point this out. You can see here, Fulton County has an expected, here, look at these outstanding votes. So the liberal Democratic backed candidate is down by 6%. But if you go look at the county's expected votes remaining, by far the most is in Fulton County, 200,000 votes remaining. And my guess is that that's going to be stronger for Rankin. And you can also see 100,000 votes left in DeKalb County. I don't know if it's pronounced DeKalb, but Rankin is up by 50% there. 96,000 votes left in Cobb County. Rankin is up by 15% there. 60,000 votes left in Gwinnett County. Rankin is up by 20% there. So there's a lot of votes left in these counties that have been favoring Rankin, and less votes left in more of the Bethel counties. So I don't know what the deal with that is here. We'll have to see. So it looks like one of the seats will, the conservative back of those two Georgia Supreme Court seats up tonight, one of them, the conservative backed incumbent is going to win. But the other one, it looks like maybe the Democrat backed challenger will win. Hang on. What else do I want to mention for you guys? Going over some of these other seats tonight. AP says Gallrein gave a short speech and vowed to advance the president's agenda. Gallrein's victory speech lasted around 5 minutes, according to AP. He spoke for about 5 minutes. He said that he pledged to take the party's agenda to Washington and work closely with the president. Sorry, I still have this. There's no great reason I have that up on the screen right now. Let me see. I'm going to check out for some other things here. No, I don't have his speech from the platforms that I pay for right now. I don't have it. Reuters did not have a camera there. So I don't have a replay to show you right now. If I had it here to show you, I would show it to you, but I don't. No, they did not have a camera at the Gallrein place. Oh, remember, next Tuesday is the Texas runoff, the Texas Republican Senate. It's the runoff election, right? Am I right that it's the runoff in Texas? Yes. So this was big news today. As many of you know, Trump backs hardliner Ken Paxton in critical Texas U.S. Senate runoff. Trump chose to not back current Senator from Texas, John Cornyn. President Trump today endorsed conservative hardliner Ken Paxton in his primary challenge of veteran Republican U.S. Senator John Cornyn. So we're going to be covering that in a week. Oh, it's 2 weeks? No, I thought it's next week. 2 weeks would mean it's in June. I thought it was in May. Well, let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. It's May 26th, right? Yeah, it's May 26th. Yes. Boy, I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked that somebody in our chat asserted confidently that I was wrong and said, no, this is the case, and actually they were incorrect. That never happens. I mean, I do get things wrong. I obviously get things wrong. But I love the confidence of like, no, Steve, it's in 2 weeks. I, of course, get things wrong all the time. Okay. Anyways, that being said, do I want to speak about any of the other races? Did I miss any of I was trying to go over some of the bigger races that were being talked about a lot. We talked about the governor in Georgia. We talked about Andy Barr in Kentucky. David Joe Klotz thinks Cornyn is going to be tough to beat. By the way, in terms of the polling in Texas, but this polling again is before this polling. So this was the vote in Texas. That was the vote there on May 3rd. Cornyn 42.01%, Paxton 40.54%, Wesley Hunt 13.53%. Now there's a runoff coming up. But President Trump had not made an endorsement then. President Trump endorsed Paxton today. So the polling is not going to reflect that. There hasn't been a lot of published polls. I don't even see any. But, I mean, from what I've seen today, the elections experts that I've seen think that Paxton is the definite favorite with Trump's endorsement. But we'll have to see. In the prediction markets, for example, I think, hang on here. Hold on. Texas Senate, looking for the runoff election. 2026. Yeah. Hang on. In the prediction, oh, by the way, we don't need the clock on. In the prediction market, right now, for example, on Kalshi, Paxton is at about 95%. And Poly Market, he is at 95%. Oh, and some people were mentioning Oregon. Let's see here. Oregon, the polls close in Oregon at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. There's an Oregon Republican governor primary tonight. For example. Oh, how about Alabama U.S. Senate? We didn't talk about this. Alabama U.S. Senate race. This is the race to succeed retiring Senator Tommy Tuberville. But it's likely there will be a runoff because U.S. Representative Barry Moore, State Attorney General Steve Marshall, and businessman Gerald Hudson are all polling well below 50%, said Decision Desk. And Moore is endorsed by Trump. Barry Moore was endorsed by Trump. He's at about 41% right now. So there's going to be probably, I guess, a runoff. According to Decision Desk HQ, it's likely that nobody will get 50%. There'll be a runoff, and one of the candidates in the runoff will be the Trump-endorsed Barry Moore. Yes, Trump's pool guy says Trump endorsed more. Rocker thinks pretty much everyone president and Trump endorses wins. By the way, thanks to Bees and Babes for your support. I really appreciate it. Bees and Babes, who says Massey 2028. Thanks to Rodney Scott 47 for your support. Who says Tim Fleming and Vernon Jones, Georgia Secretary of State runoff. Jones left the Democrat Party to support Trump back in 2016. So you mentioned the Georgia Secretary of State. Hold on. Do I even have something about that here? I don't even know if I have anything about that in my notes here. No, not in my DDHQ notes, I don't. Oh, we didn't talk about the Georgia Senate primary. I want to talk about that as well. We'll talk about that in a second. Give me one moment. One moment here. This is the Republican primary, right? Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Let's see here. Where is it here? Secretary of State. No incumbent is seeking office. I don't know if this is this going to be a runoff here? Do they do runoffs? Yes, according to 11 Alive, that if nobody gets 50%, there'll be a runoff with the top two. Oh, well, there you go. Vernon, that's why there's two check marks, Fleming and Jones. So that's going to be a runoff. That's for the Republican Georgia Secretary of State race. Oh, I was going to mention, who was it? Georgia Senate Republican. Georgia Senate Republican primary. Georgia Senate Republican primary. Mike Collins, Derek Dooley, and Buddy Carter. So Trump did not endorse in this race, by the way. Mike Collins, Representative Mike Collins, led the Decision Desk HQ polling average before the vote. Derek Dooley is former University of Texas football coach. And Buddy Carter's a GOP representative. Collins and Carter are more Trump-aligned candidates, says DDHQ, while Dooley had the backing of Governor Brian Kemp. Kemp thought that Dooley's outsider bid was the best chance to beat Democrat incumbent Jon Ossoff. But Mike Collins is leading. Now, will there be but there's going to be a runoff in this, right? Because nobody has 50%. So the question is, who's going to come in second place, I guess. I think, if I have that right. Georgia, I'll make sure here. Yeah, I believe that it's going to be the top two here. Beatnik Bandic says another runoff. So Dooley was endorsed by Governor Kemp. Now, let me say this also. Like, for example, Cobb and Gwinnett are Metro Atlanta. and DeKalb, and Dooley is doing well there. So if that means Dooley will do well in Fulton, that's going to be helpful for Dooley because there's no votes in yet from Fulton County. There's about 52,000 votes expected. And then if you look at the estimated votes remaining out there, Cobb, where Dooley is winning, Gwinnett, DeKalb. So given all of these numbers here of estimated votes remaining, I mean, it seems like Dooley might get into the top two. I don't know for sure. Hasn't been called, but anyways. It's DeKalb County. I always don't know. I feel like I always get this wrong. DeKalb County, yes. So we'll definitely be covering the Texas race next Tuesday. Thanks, Julie Smith. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, that Trump endorsed Ken Paxton today. We talked about that earlier in the stream. So now he is, I would say he's favored to win the runoff for Texas GOP Senate nominee next week. But we'll be covering that race. Thanks, CC, for the bits on Twitch, and Who Shot JR for the support on Twitch. I think we might be getting close to our time. I think we've done what we came here to do, which was cover the Massie race and talk about some of the other races. But we were really focusing on this Massie race. So we have brought you coverage. Again, let's just take one more look at the Massie vote results, guys. I don't know if it's much different than when I last checked. Here it is. Not that many more votes in, but Ed Gallrein, supported by President Trump. President Trump really does not like Thomas Massie, came out very strongly against Thomas Massie for months, and today posted numerous posts. The last couple of days posted numerous posts on social media saying how bad he thought Massie was and how people should not vote for him, and supporting Ed Gallrein. Trump's Ed Gallrein, candidate Ed Gallrein has supported the Trump-endorsed Ed Gallrein beating Thomas Massie. In this high-profile race. Thomas Massie, known as being one of the Republicans in the House who disagreed, not all the time with President Trump, but disagreed more than most with President Trump on certain issues. Hang on, before we do this, I'll just show you something here. Just to show you the headline. Again, a couple people asked for it. I do not have. I'm not intentionally keeping the Gallrein speech from you. He spoke for about 5 minutes. I don't have it. Reuters had a camera at the Massie speech. They didn't have the Gallrein, so I don't have it right now. I just don't have it for you. I can't steal it from somewhere. I wasn't stealing the Massie speech. I pay Reuters for their footage, and they had a camera there. So I'm not. I'm not hiding it from you. I'm not choosing to not play something I have right here to play for you. Here's a headline here. Thomas Massie loses Kentucky GOP primary to Ed Gallrein in another victory for Trump. Trump's hand-picked challenger beat him. The results showed the president's persisting influence over GOP voters and added to a growing number of Trump-backed primary challengers to defeat Republican lawmakers who angered him in his second term, including Senator Bill Cassidy in Louisiana and several Indiana state senators who defied Trump on redistricting. Massie, who has served in Congress since 2012, is one of the last and most outspoken holdouts. He pushed for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, criticized the war in Iran, and voted against the president's signature tax legislation last year. Still, he tried to convince voters he could be for both him and Trump. That's Massie right there. Oops, you can't see it. That is Massie. We saw his speech before. And Ed Gallrein is right there. As we said before, this was the most expensive race by a lot in the most expensive U.S. House race ever. Over $32 million were spent on this race. The next most expensive one was a race in 2024 in New York with $25 million. Gallrein, a former Navy SEAL, ran on his military service and loyalty to Trump and accused Massie of forsaking Trump and the party. He is expected to win the general election. This was not the first Republican primary Trump has tried to sway, but Massie's overt rebelliousness has been a particular challenge to Trump, says AP. They say some voters were fed up with Massie bucking the party. Massie noted he has voted with his party the vast majority of the time. As for the remainder, he said those were on proposals that violated his America First principles, such as adding to the national debt and getting into military entanglements like the war with Iran. Massie has voted against U.S. aid to Israel and faced accusations of anti-Semitism. He has denied the charges, arguing he's generally against all foreign aid, but the race drew in millions of dollars against him from pro-Israel interest groups, including from the Republican Jewish Coalition Victory Fund. That became a stump topic for Massie, who said the attempt to oust him was to send a warning to other lawmakers who oppose the president or aid to Israel. Okay, I think we're getting close. David Joe Klotz says pro-war Gallrein is a real warrior versus Massie the nothing. Joshua, Texas says political earthquake. This is huge. What was the turnout? So I can tell you, I don't know generally how it goes, but the turnout in Kentucky, I mean, over 104,000 people voted, and only 85% of the vote is in. The last primary there 2 years ago, only 53,000 voted, but I mean, it was a blowout. Massie got 76%. And then in 2022, 66,000 voted, and it was a blowout for Massie. 84,000 in 2020. Presidential year. I don't know if that makes a difference, but this was the most compared to the last two, way more. But I don't know if that's because it was close. I mean, there's a lot of, most expensive race primary race in history. It was competitive. President Trump talked about it a lot, so a lot of ad spending. So it was certainly more than recent races there in this district. Judy Smiley says, good riddance, Massie. Cindy Lek Senjanovich says, time for a change. Bernard Tapey says, they bought the seat. All right, give me a moment here. By the way, not Tom Larson had sent me a article from Haaretz, which is an Israeli newspaper, Israeli news site, that said sent me Haaretz had posted on their social media that said the most consequential Republican primary for Israel is happening in Kentucky. We talked about that earlier. Haaretz said Massie has long been a thorn in the side of the pro-Israel and Jewish establishment. He has been vocal in opposition to U.S. spending on Israeli military aid and the wars in Gaza and Iran. All right, I think it is our time. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to mention, I should mention this really quick, that Tommy Tuberville won the Republican nomination for governor in Alabama. So I just want to put that on the screen for you. He was senator, but now he's running for governor. He got 86% of the vote. He will be going against former Senator Doug Jones, who is a Democrat. The Hill says the GOP has controlled that governorship for more than 2 decades, but Jones is seen as a major get for his party. Jimmy Six says Rubio Ossoff ticket. Think about it. All right, guys. Real G.K. Barton thought Massie sounded too good for politics. Trump's pool guy says Tommy's a tough cookie. Gregory Scherer says tough to beat the old coach. All right, so I really appreciate you joining our live coverage of the Thomas Massie primary. We will have more election coverage next week when we cover the Texas Republican Senate runoff between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. Paxton endorsed today by President Trump. I didn't see that Trump has, I'm guessing Trump will post it sometime tonight about Thomas Massie, but I didn't see it yet. So I can't show that to you because he hasn't posted yet. But I really appreciate you being with us. And we will certainly have more election and other news coverage. And I enjoyed watching the returns with you. And thanks everybody for sending in your. We got to read a bunch of comments tonight, so I appreciate you sending in your comments and sending me updates and all that. And more coverage soon. This is Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. If you'd like, subscribe, follow the channel Agenda Free TV. And I would suggest turn on notifications for the channel. You never know when big news can happen. There could be big news later tonight. So if you want to get sent a notification whenever we're going live, to give you a heads up, the best thing is to sign up for our notifications that we have set up ourselves that work really well through Discord. They're very reliable. And the way to sign up for those free notifications is the mods will post a link in the chat to sign up for the notifications, or you can go to the description of the broadcast on Facebook and YouTube, the description of the video, and you will find the link to the notifications in there. So sign up for those. Sign up for those notifications. And hang on a moment here. Also, I will post updates about news on my X account, which is at Lookner on X. You can follow me there for breaking news updates. At Lookner, if you're on X. Bill Caldem thinks Democrats here wanted Massie and Republicans didn't. Tells you what you needed to know. Let's see. Oh, so I really appreciate our moderators. Huge thanks to all of our moderators. We had a lot of people in the chat tonight, and with different views, and our moderators are what allows us to have the chat rooms. They allow us to have the chat rooms. They keep things under control and respectful in the chat. So huge thanks to our moderators. Haley Girl, Ruth, Debbie BJG, and all of our other moderators over on YouTube have been there. Leslie Ladyhawk, thank you. Huge thanks to our mods. And on Twitch, our moderators over there, hold on, what did I do? Where did my Twitch go? Now I can't find it. Gotta pull it up here. Matthew Kohai 3 and Sarah and all of our other Twitch moderators, huge thanks. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha, who moderate for us on X, and our Facebook mods as well. Huge thank you. Michael Fergal and Kay Lowry Body and Darren Charlo and Paul Anderson. Thank you to all of our mods. Huge thanks. Also, thanks to everybody who supported the channel. So nice of you guys. I really appreciate that. Did I thank everybody before? CC, thanks. I think I owed CC a thank you. And also thanks to Pepper Medic. Yeah, Prepper Medic. Prepper Medic. We're about to wrap up the stream. Prepper Medic. Also, thank you. And I think I missed a couple people. Oh, I missed some Facebook stars. William Bowser, I missed. Brian Davio. No, that was earlier. I got Brian and Alicia Rivera earlier. Quiston McConnell Gates and William Bowser. I think I missed William. Thank you, William, for the Facebook stars. But again, huge thanks for supporting the channel. That's what allows the channel to exist. President Trump is visiting France. Oh. Is it for Memorial Day? I think maybe. It says he's visiting France. Oh no, he's not. It's not Memorial Day. It's June. It's in June. Why is this? Ah, the G7 summit. President Trump is attending the G7 summit in France in June. Okay, that's what it is. Maybe we'll do some coverage of that. Let's see. Hey, I do want to mention also another good way to find out when we're live for those of you on X is to follow us on X, which is at Agenda Free TV. I always post there when we're going live. I give you a heads up. I post updates about the channel there at Agenda Free TV on X. And also, we do have a chat where you can chat with other viewers when we're not on the air. Our Discord chat, it's free. A bunch of our viewers like doing the Discord chat. Check it out. The link is the same link as the free notifications link. So check out our Discord chat. Also, big thanks to our moderators on Discord who help out with our Discord chat. Thanks to our Discord mods. Thank you. And let's see. Oh, for those of you who watch on YouTube, I do want to mention the YouTube notifications. That's another way you can find out when we're live. Our YouTube notifications. I would recommend turning those on. You got to subscribe to the channel, and then you click the bell, and then you choose all notifications. If you're already subscribed, well, make sure you just click the bell and choose all notifications. Let's see. I want to also thank, you know who I didn't thank during the broadcast? Our Facebook and Twitch subscribers and our YouTube members. Thanks to all of our subscribers on Facebook, like Robert Rial II, Diane Allworth, Dolly Clark, Kay Lowry Body, Brian Davio, Barry Eisler, and all of our other subscribers there. Also, our Twitch subscribers, people like Uncle Fester, Andy in Austin, Wall Street, Shaggy, Cece, thank you, Chi-Town Bear, Gina Pita, Midtown Mike, Jack's Animals, Mitch Poke Fan, Cece, all of our other Twitch subscribers, thank you so much. Hang on one moment here. One moment here. Our YouTube members, too. Thanks to our YouTube members. Oh, I didn't thank Vigilante. Vigilante, thank you for your support and for being a member. Thanks to our members like C. Chase and Bernard Tapey and CAC813 and Kevin L. and Yo-Yo, Roger Shoemaker, John Flick, Eric Johnson, David Joe Klotz, Chris N., Turned Off, Real G.K. Barton, Gregory Scherer, Patricia Canada, Jenna Ferrari, TM Savvy, Roger Shoemaker, WFT Jet, Lolly Lollipop, RZ Rules, thank you. Also, all of our other viewers who are watching, I really appreciate it. I want to thank just a couple more people. Like Ed Scarborough. Thanks, Ed, for watching. Nicolette Parker, Sarah Smile. Thank you. Andrea Holder was moderating too. Thank you. Audrey Burbank, thanks for watching. Melissa Terry, thanks for watching. Glue Man, thanks for watching. Hectate, thanks for watching. Mario Terrace, thank you for watching. All right, it is time. It is time for us to wrap this up. It is time for us to wrap up the stream. Daniel Fletcher, thank you for watching. All right, guys, so that is it. I appreciate you joining us for our live Thomas Massie primary coverage. We will have more election coverage next Tuesday night. Texas Republican Senate primary. And I'm sure we'll be covering news before then. That is it for now. Thank you for watching. We'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.